Welcome to Mint. I'm Cordelia Jenkins. On today's edition of From the Newsroom, we're joined by Asit, Ranjan, Mishra. Thank you for joining us, Asit.
Welcome.
We're going to be discussing the Kelkar Committee's recommendations to the government today on fiscal consolidation. Asit, first of all, could you just tell me exactly what recommendations have the committee made?
So, the Kelkar Committee was set up by the new Finance Minister, P. Chidambaram, to look into the ways that the government can reduce its subsidy burden. So the committee had submitted its report some time back, and now the government has put it in public domain. The committee basically says that the government should eliminate all LPG subsidies by 2015 March. It also says that the government should eliminate the subsidies of giving to the diesel by 2014 March. So, and on kerosene, which is consumed largely in the rural area, it says that you should reduce it by 1/3 by 2015.
Okay.
So these are basically the broader subsidy reduction measures that the committee says. It also wants that if you do not go for this kind of subsidy reduction, then the fiscal deficit this year could touch 6.1%, which is in fact 1 percentage point higher than what the government expects.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's the government's response been to these recommendations?
Yeah, the government today released the report for public scrutiny. It said that we haven't taken a final call on the report, and let the public give its views, then we'll take a final call. But at the same time, very interestingly, the government, the DEA secretary, Arvind Mairam, who in fact held a press conference and released the report, said that we are actually not in agreement with some of the subsidy reduction recommendations given by the Kelkar Committee. So even before taking a final call, the government in a way has given its judgment on the report. And it says that because the committee also says that you have to reduce the food subsidies, you have to be very careful at least about that portion. So it says that it talks about the inclusive growth that the government has targeted and all those things. And it clearly has sent a clear political signal about the committee recommendations, saying that some of the recommendations are not clearly achievable.
So, in your opinion then, Asit, how achievable really are these recommendations?
Yeah, so the timing of the report is really crucial. So, one alliance partner of the government has withdrawn from the coalition, which is the Trinamool Congress, opposing this kind of reform measures, including the subsidy reduction by hiking the diesel price and cutting LPG subsidies. So, at such a time, so the government will obviously be a little circumspect about these recommendations. So, and then the election time is beginning. So you will have the Gujarat elections by the end of the year. Then obviously the other states will follow, and finally the 2014 general election. So the government will obviously be very cautious going on from now. And I think it will be really very difficult for the government to accept some of these drastic recommendations made by the Kelkar panel.
So it's by no means certain that these recommendations will even be taken on board anytime soon?
They may be taken on board, but it's up to the government, and time will tell how much it will accept.
Okay, well, thank you very much for talking to us, Asit.
Welcome.
And thank you very much for watching. That concludes this episode, but please stay tuned for more.